Hi, this is Ken McCarthy, and if you're new to these recordings, what are they about? They are part of a celebration of the 20th anniversary of the System Seminar, the Internet Marketing Seminar, where really it all began. And by all, I mean squeeze pages, email follow-up, using pay-per-click for A/B split testing, long-form ad copy online. Uh, all those things were taught for the first time in one place at the System Seminar. And that was 20 years ago. So I've been reading from the book The System Club Letters. The System Club is a membership organization made up of people who graduated from the System Seminar and also people who have been invited to join after. And was been reading from the book, but have taken a break to talk about some of my favorite copywriting books, and I've talked about them. They're all great books, but I've talked about them in an order of importance. In other words, if you could only read one, which one would it be? And I talked about that in the first call in this part of the series. If you missed it, go back, see if you can find it. Then I talked about a book that I consider absolutely essential. It is like a mechanical guide to writing copy. It's powerful. It's powerful, and it was based on about 60 years of research, practical research, writing lots of ads and tracking the results of lots of ads. Then I talked about some other books that I like, and now we're finishing with books by living authors. And you may ask yourself, Ken, why have you only talked about dead authors until now? And the reason for that is I don't want the competition. But there are two guys that absolutely have to be acknowledged as among the greatest of the greats. And they're both still around. They're both, sharp as they've ever been. They're both available to learn from. I read everything they write, and luckily for us, they've written a lot of books. The first one is Drayton Byrd. And to sum up Drayton Byrd, I'll just tell you this. His direct response advertising agency was so strong in the UK market that the only practical way for David Ogilvy, and if you don't know who David Ogilvy is, I mention him a lot in these copywriting sessions that we're doing. You got to know him. Look him up, read his books, then you'll understand. But basically, he's a great writer, a great storyteller. He built a huge international ad agency using direct response as his foundation. Anyway, in the process of buying up ad agencies all over the world so that he could have a global network ad agency, he had to get into the UK market. It's a very important market. And he was pretty much compelled to buy Drayton Byrd's direct response ad agency because it was the best in the country. So when you realize that Ogilvy originally was from the UK, and he had to go and buy out Drayton Byrd to get a foot in the UK, it lets you know what a formidable marketer Drayton Byrd is. And then Ogilvy hired Drayton to be his basically quality control guy and trainer to go all around the world to make sure that all the offices, Berlin, Rio de Janeiro, Singapore, wherever he had offices, to make sure that the people understood that A, we're here to make money, and B, we make money with direct response, not with fancy artwork. So this book that I want to tell you about, it's kind of a weird story. I read a book that Drayton wrote many years ago. I read it many years ago, called what the heck is the name of it? I can't even remember. Oh well, so much for that. But it's something like the Direct Marketer's Handbook, or let me look it up. Hang on a second. Okay, Common Sense Direct Marketing. Really good book. And I read it at a very early point in my career when I had read lots and lots of stuff. And but it wasn't coming together. And there was something about the way Drayton talks about direct response advertising that really helped bring it together for me. That said, there is another book that Drayton wrote, and I believe you can get it directly from him, and you should. And he's pretty easy to find. Just go to the internet and search. And the book is called How to Write Sales Letters That Sell. And it originally came out, let me take a look at this thing here, in 1994. I don't know how I missed it. This would have saved me a lot of trouble if I had read this book, because it is a masterpiece. Maybe, could be the best practical book on direct response copywriting. Every book that I've talked about, very valuable, very important to read, very important to study. I'm a big believer in the John Caples book because of how it gets into the nitty-gritty, into the details. It gets into the weeds. It's very important to have big concepts laid out for you. That's your lighthouse. That's how you navigate through the fog and get to, make sure you don't run on the rocks, and get to where you're trying to go. So those kind of books are absolutely essential. But it's really helpful to every now and then have a book that really gets into the details of ad writing and sales letter writing. And I have to say, this might be the best. Could be the absolute best. So that's Drayton Byrd, How to Write Sales Letters That Sell. A lot of examples. That's what's good. And these examples are contemporary. Many of the books are talking about things that happened, in the case of Claude Hopkins, he's talking about things that happened in the 20s. And you can learn from things that happened in the 20s. Absolutely. And in the teens and in the turn of the century. Absolutely. But there's something comforting about looking at ads that are contemporary to our time. And there's a ton of them in this book. And so that's Drayton Byrd, How to Write Sales Letters That Sell. The next living master, and I'm not going to recommend a particular book, and the reason is he's written so many books that I don't even know where to begin. So the way I would handle it is go to Google. Go to Amazon, go to Google, or whatever search engine you like, and just scroll through all the books that he's written and find the topic that is urgent for you right now. So, for example, he's written a general book on advertising, why it fails and how to make it succeed. That's one of his more recent books. Looks like it's a Kindle. Looks like he's got a bunch of little Kindle books out there right now. Why am everything I see is Kindle? Why is that? I don't really want to be. Oh, let me get out of the Kindle store. I'm not a big. How about you? I'm not a big electronic book fan. At first, I was really excited because I used to travel a lot, and I would carry, 3 or 4 or 5 books with me, which is kind of insane. And then I'd buy another 4 or 5 on the road. I'm a book addict. By the way, I just learned that David Bowie, when he traveled, he had a specially made case. He traveled with 1,200 books. He traveled, I can't even believe that. Is that even possible? I'm going to have to double check that. But he traveled with a lot of books, like hundreds of them. Because I know how many 1,200 books is. That's like a wall of books. But I think he actually did that. I could be wrong on the number, but he didn't take a few books with him. He had a specially built traveling case specifically to move his library. around so that he always had it handy. This was pre-electronic books. But anyway, I prefer physical books. So you can get Kennedy's stuff, you can get everybody's stuff in Kindle, but luckily all these books are in paperback or in hardcover. So for example, I didn't give you his name yet. I'll tell you his name in a second. He's got a book, Why Advertising Fails. He has a book, The Ultimate Sales Letter, which I used to be in. It's now the 4th edition. I don't know if I'm still in it or not. He wrote Magnetic Marketing, how to attract a flood of new customers that pay, stay, and refer. He's got a book on marketing to the affluent, which is a really important and useful topic. You may not realize it, but whatever you're selling, probably there are affluent people in your market. And you should be creating special products and special offers for them. And it will make you a ton of money if you do it right. And Dan is, I just gave you his name, is a master. The Renegade Millionaire, No BS Direct Marketing, totally recommend that book. This one's amazing. No BS. That's not the one I'm thinking of. But anyway, his time management, superb. Speak to Sell. There's nobody better at platform selling than Dan Kennedy. So you can learn everything that's available to learn by book from him. No BS Guide to Maximum Referrals. No BS Guide to Price Strategy. He's very good at pricing, to say the least. Trust-based marketing, powerful presentations. He wrote a really interesting book with a co-author, Chip Kessler, called Make Them Believe. And all I can say is hold on to your hat when you read that one, but it's good. I've read everything he's written. I have a whole shelf of his books. It's the equivalent of, it's not the equivalent of an MBA. It's better than an MBA. It's exponentially better than an MBA. Then a book that every business owner must read, the No BS Ruthless Management of People and Profits. No holds barred, kick butt, take no prisoners guide to really getting rich. And believe me, if you cannot deal with people, you will not make much money. And this is a fantastic book on how to deal with people. The No BS Sales Success in the New Economy. I don't know that one. No BS Wealth Attraction. No BS Brand Building by Direct Response. The Best of No BS, which is coming out soon. We hope it's going to come out in September of 2022. I wrote the foreword to it, so I really hope it comes out. Marketing to Boomers and Seniors. He's got a book on that. And these are not just, hey, I need to write another book. These are things that he's really expert in. In fact, I would say of all the people, past and present, who've ever lived and taught marketing on the down and dirty, how it actually works, whether you're using mail, whether you're using video and TV, whether you're using the internet, whether you're using radio, whether you're selling from the platform, the issue of how the heck do you manage people when you have to build up a business to execute on the things that you want. I don't know anybody that does better. And the fact that he's got books on all these subjects is just amazing. So anyway, his name is Dan Kennedy. And many of you already know his name, but if you don't know his name, you're absolutely missing out on one of the best resources in business that there is and will ever be. So again, what I would recommend is go to his site on Amazon, or go to his, I don't know if he has, it's funny thing is he's not really in, he's one of the best advisors on how to actually use the web. And if I had to do a really serious thing where a lot of money was at stake and we had to get it right the first time, on my short list of people that I would reach out to and hire as a consultant would absolutely be him. But he's not personally not really into the internet that much. But so you can find his website if he's got one. I don't even know if he has one. He and I send letters back and forth and faxes. Or you can go to Amazon and just put in Dan Kennedy, and a flood of these books will come. And I just say, look at the titles, look at the one that most resonates with you right now, and get it. And I hope you get hooked, because these books are amazing, and he's a great advisor. So, two living masters. If you have an opportunity to hear them speak, if you have an opportunity to go somewhere where they're training, absolutely take advantage of it, because we'll never see people at this level again. And the reason I say that is everybody now is an internet marketing expert, and we have less and less people who have worked in all the media, worked in television, worked in radio, worked in direct mail. It's just rare. It's just those kind of people just aren't around much. And there's less and less and less of them. And there's few that operate at a super high level. And I would say Drayton and Dan are among the very, very top. Well, I will say they are the very top. There might be people who are their equal who are living today. I can't really think of anybody offhand who's practicing, who's still in the game. But there's no one better. There's no one better. And their work stands up with John Caples, with Claude Hopkins, with Robert Collier, with Eugene Schwartz, with Dick Benson, and with Vic Schwab. And there you have it. I just gave you my list of the best of the best of people who've written books. There are some great trainers, great experts, practical experts who've done it, who are as good as it gets. They've just never written a book on copywriting. Or if you want to get their copywriting material, you've got to write a multi-$1,000 check to get access to what they teach. These fellows that I mentioned have made books available at what they call a popular price. And again, I really want to encourage you. This is the last bit I'm going to do on other books. But I really want to encourage you to make the time for reading. If you don't like to read, find some of these things on audiobook. But whatever you do, please, please, please take advantage of inputs from people like this. It will make all the difference in the world. Just turn off the TV, turn off the internet, and just soak your brain in these guys. I think I said this on one of the calls, but if I didn't, let me say it now. If you spend a half hour every morning, maybe when you wake up, and a half hour every night, maybe the last thing before you go to bed, and you do that for a year with these particular authors, you will come out the other, and it might even take a year, but let's just say a year, but you will come out the other end in the top 1% of all marketing informed people on earth. Really. You won't have the experience, and experience ultimately is the best teacher, but you'll definitely understand the theory and the practice and the fundamentals and what makes sense to do and what doesn't make sense and what direction to go in. And you'll also develop a fantastic bullshit meter, because you'll have depth. And you may not know the answers to every question, but you'll know who's bullshitting you if you go through the process that I'm recommending that you do. And what's it cost? These books are like $20, $29 each. You could buy them all for $200. And it's what does it cost to take a college course, right? I don't even know. $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. I don't know. College is. I know when I went to college in the 70s, each course was about $1,000. I went to an expensive college. I can't even imagine what it is today. I mean, if people are paying, what do they pay to go to college now? $100,000? Maybe I'm $200,000. I don't know. I really should look it up. But let's say it's $100,000. Let's say you get through college for the bargain basement rate of $100,000, and you're taking So that's $25,000 a year, and you're taking, what, 4 courses per semester? So that's eight courses a year. Call it 10. Let's say you're taking 10 courses a year just to make the math work out. You're paying $2,500 for what may or may not be a decent class. And I'm sure everybody that's been to college or even high school knows some classes suck. They're a total waste of time. And it's, believe me, I've been there. It's entirely possible to take a course that's no good. So that's about $2,500 to get the college credits. Or for less than 10% of that, you could literally have the greatest minds who ever lived on the subject of practical persuasion at your fingertips, at your beck and call to train you. Don't underestimate what's available to you there. I hope you won't. I hope you won't. All right. So you know what my favorite books are and my favorite thinkers are in direct response and persuasion. I hope you'll grab one or more of those books and take advantage of them. See you next time.